Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Got the Mighty Gator Unleashed with you here Saturday morning. Today's May the 28th, 2022. Been a bad week here. Had a couple of bad weeks, actually. These mass shootings. Um, I'm hesitant to talk about that. I have been. Certainly didn't want to immediately after, unlike the president and the vice president and most of our evil left-wing monsters that run the country. Um, I'm too respectful to try to politicize this within hours of it happening before any facts are known. But they always do that because they're just simply garbage. Um, we gotta fight for our right to bear arms. We just have to fight for our right to bear arms. If we let this right get away from us, the city of Chicago has had 250 people killed this month by gangs, by crime, violence. If nobody has firearms, the people that are willing to break the law and have them, the people that are willing to form gangs, that are willing to kill and rob and just steal, they're going to dominate every town in this country. Um, and you're going to see thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people die in every state every month if we lose the right to bear arms. That's just a guaranteed situation. Um, by having the right to bear arms, the chances of you being attacked and robbed are greatly reduced, because even if you choose not to have a weapon, the people that does this stuff, they don't know that you don't have a weapon. If we lose the right to bear arms, then they know you don't have a weapon, and they're going to take you out. They're going to take everything you got, and if you resist, they're going to kill you. That's what you're going to be faced with, guys. Oh, this deal that happened this week, it doesn't add up. Yeah, I mean, we have disturbed people, obviously. Um, and the media's focusing on this firearm. They're trying to say that these senators blocked this H.R. 8 bill, and that caused it. All that's total bullshit. Steve Kerr, LeBron, these NBA people, and these Jimmy Jimmy Kimmel's garbage. These pedophile like Biden and most of the other politicians, just the scum of the earth in every way. But they're talking about this H.R. 8 bill and trying to say that the Republicans have blocked it, and that would have prevented this. That's not true. Nothing about that is true. Zero. First of all, H.R. 8 pertains to guns being sold at flea markets and things of that nature without background checks. And I think that does need to be stopped. I don't think it would prevent hardly any crimes at all, but really, I don't know how they would enforce it all that much, because I've seen people sell guns and things at flea markets most of my life. Um, but that would be another whole story. This situation, HR 8 had nothing to do with this. This kid purchased this firearm legally. He passed a federal background check less than 2 weeks ago. Less than 2 weeks ago, he passed a federal background check and was given the okay by the federal government to purchase and own an AR-15. And I actually think he bought two of them. Now, that's what needs to be looked at. We don't need to look at passing more gun laws. The gun laws that we have on the books currently failed. Why did that fail? From what I can tell, this guy was a crystal clear person with severe mental problems. So, was a bully, uh, just a very sick, just very messed up guy. So why did this background check fail? Why? And this is not something that is debatable. We've got the gift of hindsight. This is facts. The background check failed. So why did it fail? Why was the background check? The background check was put in place to prevent someone that shouldn't be able to purchase a firearm from purchasing it. That's what it's put in place for. That's why this law passed years ago. So why did it fail? And why would any logical thinking person be hell bent on passing more gun laws when the gun laws already in place failed and did not prevent the maniac from killing massive amounts of people, of just innocent people? In this case, a lot of kids, small kids, just horrible. But what's the thought process of these people? Simplify. What is the thought process? Why is Steve Kerr? Does Steve Kerr not understand how the United States government works? Does he not understand how laws are passed? The Republicans don't have the power to block anything. They don't have the power to block anything. They tried to block the $40 billion being sent to Ukraine, and I was all for it being blocked. I did not want to send $40 billion to Ukraine. Well, actually, 11 Republicans tried to block it. All 50 of them could not have blocked it on the Senate had they wanted to, without some Democrats joining them. The Republicans don't have the power to block anything. So everything Steve Kerr said is wrong. And again, that is a fact. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. And evidently it's a fact that Steve Kerr does not understand. And I feel sorry for Steve Kerr. Clearly the guy is very distraught over this. And evidently, I mean, he seems to be a very good-hearted guy. And everybody, the least little bit rational and logical is devastated by what's happened. Nobody wants to see things like this happen. Anybody, myself included, would be for any rational gun control law that would prevent this from happening. But we've already done that. We already have done that. The kid passed a federal background check. Why is the conversation not about specifically who went over this guy's credentials, who looked into this guy, and passed and give him the green light to purchase these firearms? Why don't we fix that? Then the federal background check would have a chance of working and preventing some of this. Another thing to touch on is there's no doubt cases where the federal background checks have worked and have prevented people from doing terrible things. Perhaps the guy that took the car and drove through a parade a few years ago and killed a bunch of people. I don't know the numbers and details. I know it happened. Maybe he had failed a background check. Maybe had it not been for the federal background check that was passed, maybe he would have used a firearm and killed people. They're just talking lunacy. It's just all bullshit. And the Jimmy Kimmels and the Joe Biden, the Kamala Harris's, and these Democrats and a few Republicans, Mitch McConnell included, who are jumping on this gun control bandwagon. That's all political stunt. They don't care about these people. I believe that, like the Steve Kerr guy, I believe he actually is devastated. And I think he is just simply a victim of his own unintelligence of how laws are passed and what's actually happening. I think the Jimmy Kimmels and these other guys, I think they are purposely doing everything they can to destroy the United States of America. They hate traditional America. They hate people like me, who has never done anything in this life except work and pay taxes and make ends meet. They don't want traditional America to survive. They want to change America. I mean, under Obama, our culture, our society reached the point under Obama that people didn't know what restroom to use. I mean, people have got to simplify and get back to basics, or these people that hate America, they just happen to also run America. They also happen to have all these platforms in America where their voice reaches millions. They're going to crush this country. It's on the brink of being destroyed right now, and we can't let our gun rights go. We just can't do it. Cannot let it go. We have got to fight for our right to bear arms. Just have to do it. We saw Omar Mateen. This was 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know when. I haven't looked anything up. This is all based on my memory. Omar Mateen was a radical Muslim that hated gay people. He went into a gay bar in Florida and shot over 100 people and killed 50, including himself. This bar was a gun-free zone. It's always a gun-free zone. If you notice similarities in all these things that happen, it's almost a certainty that it's a gun-free zone. I'm not for gun-free zones. I just am not for gun-free zones. Any politician that runs for office and tells me he's for banning gun-free zones, that man has an excellent chance of getting my vote, or woman. I am not for gun-free zones. No, I'm not. You know, it's a fine line. The schools. I just don't know. I just don't know what the answer is, and evidently nobody else does either. Getting back to some other things though, the Omar Mateen story was never taken under the wing of the media and used for more gun laws because it didn't fit their narrative. Had he been a conservative white person who just happened to be a delusional, out of his mind maniac that was capable of killing people, it would have been one of the biggest it would have been one of the biggest stories ever. But that didn't fit their narrative, so it slid under the radar for the most part. I mean, it made some headlines, but nothing like what you would think it would if you look at this thing with an unbiased point of view. These schools, in my opinion, they're either going to have to do away with gun-free zones, or they're going to have to require that all adults in a school, all teachers and all staff, have extensive firearm training and be required to carry at all times. I think that would be great. I think that would be great. No matter what happens, there's always going to be an incident where something goes wrong. There's no way to bulletproof or to prevent anything going wrong ever on anything. But we cannot have places where mass crowds of people are gathered without the right to bear arms. Because if you do that, and that's what we've got all over the country, and when that happens, it's a breeding plot. It's just a heaven for somebody that's willing to go in there with a weapon and start killing people, because they're totally helpless. Omar Mateen, and we have the gift of hindsight. Omar Mateen went in there, and people was on the ground begging for their life, and he brutally murdered them. He used a Glock pistol, I'm almost positive. But that could be wrong. He definitely had a pistol. And you know, it doesn't matter what you've got. If you've got any kind of pistol, if you're in a place and nobody else has a firearm, you own them all. They're at your mercy. That's just the way it is. It don't matter how big you are, how strong, how weak. If you've got a firearm and are capable of using it, you own that place. This is a little Taurus 357. It's a model 605 stainless steel. I've done a video on it a few years, a while back, sometime back. Kind of revisiting here. Great little pistol to carry for self-defense, especially if you like to carry in a holster outside the waistband. But you know, they go on about this AR-15 and call it an assault rifle, which is simply there is no class of firearms as a assault rifles. That's just a made-up term by people like Jimmy Kimmel. These people like that love it because they want to strip us of our right to bear arms. They want us to be powerless and dependent upon the government for everything, even though at the same time they want to defund the police. So I don't know I don't know what their message is for us to be safe. They don't want us to be able to protect ourselves, and they don't want us to have any law enforcement to protect us. If they do, they want to put them in jail. But if the guy had this right here, he could have done the same thing. If he'd went in there with this, and yeah, I mean, anything that shoots 30 rounds, and there's pistols that shoots 30 rounds or more, that is a more capable weapon in a mass crowd. But this right here, you can unload, you can dump and put 5 more in it quick. Especially with children. I mean, it's just so sad. It's just so bad what's happened. And these politicians compound it, and these late night entertainment people and these NBA people and players and stuff, they're just so out of touch with the real world. They're just so uninformed. They're just so lost and pathetic. I mean, it's just really a sickening time in America right now with what's going on. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, within hours of this happening, I mean within just a couple of hours, they immediately jump on the bandwagon to start hot yelling for gun control. They didn't even know the details, and now as more details come out, it seems that there's more to the story. The police barricaded this place. They barricaded anyone from going in and wouldn't go in themselves. And they let this guy, he fired over 100 rounds. They let this guy pretty much have free reign in this school, killing who he wanted to for 45 minutes. They arrested parents outside trying to get in. They tased them. They pepper sprayed them. They handcuffed them for 45 minutes. Or maybe more, maybe up to an hour. At least 45 minutes. And finally, a Border Patrol agent, or maybe 2 of them. The details are all fuzzy, even the governor of the state. And they really never have said what weapon he used. They've not cleared that up either. This is these mass shootings, before I lose train of thought, the Border Patrol guys went in there and put a stop to this guy in just a matter of minutes. After they finally, I don't know if they overrode the police. I don't know what they've done to get in finally, to make that decision. But there's more to this, I believe. I believe there's some deep, sinister evil that made this happen. Why is it that every election year we start having these mass shootings? Why is it that a few short months ago, the Attorney General of New York was a Democrat, got caught in a major scam and arrested? That same day, they had a mass shooting that totally took over and dominated all news, and the exposure of this pathetic monster Democrat never made no headlines. I'm not big into coincidences. I think I'm afraid that there's something worse, some deep, horrible stuff going on. I really am. Don't know that. Certainly seems awful strange that they would not let anyone in. And the children inside this school was calling the police. This went on for 45 minutes, begging for help, and then right outside. It doesn't sound like the police, the people I know that work in law enforcement, they are the best the community has. They are just great people. They aren't cowards. They understand that their life is on the line every day. Something don't add up here, guys. And I don't know what it is, and I guess nobody else does either. But I am a person that always breaks things down to the most simple form. I've not been to college. I've not been brainwashed with overcomplicating things. I don't overcomplicate things. If you can get to the point where you can simplify, you'll get the answer. Almost always, if you follow the money, you'll find the villain. Something up here. Something's up. I want this video to be more than just about this horrible crime, though, and our desperate need to fight for our right to bear arms. And that's why I brought this little Taurus pistol in here. This is obviously unloaded. Great little pistol. You can't go wrong with a little revolver if you could carry it. This is kind of heavy for a revolver. They make these little lightweight revolvers. If you choose a weapon like this for self-defense, you're going to have a trade-off. You can get a lighter one, and they're usually more expensive. Of course, everything's expensive right now. The lighter ones, they will be higher. The trade-off is they're easier to carry. You put them in your pocket, and it's less of a nuisance. When you pull the trigger, you got more. It's less of a pleasure to shoot. You probably are not going to shoot it a whole lot anyway. So this is not one of the lighter ones, but I carry outside my waistband almost always in a holster, and I wear Levi's a lot, so it's no problem for me to carry this little firearm. If that's not your situation, you'll probably be better off with the lightweight one. Because, as I always say, if you don't have it with you, it's not going to save your life. I want to touch on over-penetration. This is what I carry in this little, these are 38 plus P. This is a 357. You can shoot a 38 in a 357. You can shoot 38s and 357s. However, if you've got a 38, you cannot shoot a 357 round in it. The 357 is a hair longer, and I don't think they will work. I don't think that you could get the cylinder back in place if you was to load it with 357s. I want to get after those some of the most simple things. Just because you can shoot a 38 in a 357, you cannot shoot a 357 in a 38. If you did manage to get it in there and get this gun loaded and ready to fire, when it fired, it would blow the cylinder apart, because 357 is drastically more powerful than a 38, even a 38 plus P. These rounds are 38 plus P. That's what I carry in this. I have carried 357 in it sometimes. 357 is a great round. Have to have hollow points. Penetration is off the charts on the 357. But just some things to consider. These are great. I just can't stress enough how great these are. I may even do a little shoot video with this when I get my range going. It's amazing how accurate they are. But I just wanted to talk about some of this stuff got today, guys. We've got to fight for our right to bear arms. We cannot let these monsters on the left, and they are monsters. Never underestimate these monsters. They don't have anything for America except hatred. I don't think personally that they care about these tragedies and these families that are suffering to levels that I honestly can't imagine. I've lost some people close to me, but I can't imagine what these people are going through. Just such a pointless thing. I don't understand why the focus. Well, I do understand, because it doesn't fit the media narrative. But I can't understand why we, the people, aren't demanding answers as to why the federal government granted this guy, led his background check. He passed his background check and was able to purchase firearms. That entire situation, every detail of that needs to be exposed. Who gave the gun shop the green light to sell this man these firearms? That is the problem here. That gun law failed. That gun law failed. Had he purchased the gun at a flea market without doing a background check, then people like Steve Kerr would have had an argument. They would have had somewhat of a argument over H.R. 8, though when they say the Republicans blocked it, they have no argument there, because the Republicans cannot block anything right now. They do not have the power. If the Democrats stick together, they can pass anything they want to pass. The Supreme Court may come back and strip it away, but that would be years down the road. That's how our law works. So, no, Steve Kerr, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Based on the facts, and this is not complicated either. You're wrong. Jimmy Kimmel, you're wrong. You've been wrong about everything for the last 20 years. there's not been one single issue you people on the left have been right about. Not one. From Obamacare to the Russia collusion story, to Hunter Biden's laptop, to the war on coal, the war on fossil fuels. You've been wrong about every single issue, bar none. So why anybody would believe you guys, if anybody's dumb enough to believe you guys, I guess they deserve it. Because the gift of hindsight proves that you guys have been wrong on everything for the last 20 years. Anyhow, that's all I got, guys. Prayers for these families. That's all we can do. We can't help them. When they lay down and go to sleep, we can't. Nobody can help these people. Just gotta pray for them, and we gotta pray for our country, guys. Our country is in the worst shape it's ever been in history. Guys, try to have a good Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you on the next video. I hope you can like and subscribe.